On the morning of February 22, 2026, Mexico faced big trouble. Across the country, chaos started. People saw buses burning on highways, stopping all traffic. Thick smoke went up into the sky over popular tourist places like Puerto Vallarta. Guadalajara, a very large city, became silent and empty, like a ghost town. It was clear that one important event had made the whole nation full of problems. This big trouble began because of one man, Nemesio El Mencho Oseguera Cervantes. He was the most wanted leader of a very powerful group, the CJNG cartel. For many years, people looked for him. He was like a ghost, always hiding, and no one could catch him. Many thought he was just a story, not a real person. But El Mencho was real, and he died in a special military operation. Soldiers found him in the mountains of Jalisco, a state in western Mexico. This was a very dangerous operation. How these soldiers finally found a man who hid for so long is a story we will learn later. His death, however, immediately caused much violence and anger. After the news of his death spread, burning cars and buses blocked roads in many states. People were scared and stayed at home. The U.S. Embassy told American citizens in 5 different states to stay safe inside. This made many flights stop and left tourists stuck. To understand why El Mencho's death caused such a big and sudden storm of violence, we must first look at the man himself. Who was El Mencho?
How did he build an organization so strong it could make a country feel such fear and trouble? 2. The Man in the Shadows. Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes was born in 1966 in a small village in Michoacán, Mexico. His family was poor, and as a young boy and man, he worked picking avocados. This simple beginning did not show the path his life would take. Later, he traveled to the United States. There, his first steps into criminal activity began. In 1994, he was caught and sent to prison. He was found guilty of planning to sell heroin. He spent almost 3 years in jail in the U.S. After serving his time, he was sent back to Mexico. But this return did not end his criminal path. Instead, it made it stronger. Back home, he first worked as a local policeman for a short time. This experience might have taught him more about how the system worked. Soon, he joined other drug traffickers. After a major leader, Ignacio Coronel Villarreal, died, El Mencho and another man, Eric Valencia Salazar, started their own group. This new group was called the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, or CJNG. It began around 2007 and quickly grew. Under El Mencho's lead, the CJNG became very powerful, expanding its control across many areas. El Mencho carefully built an image of mystery. He almost never showed his face in public. The few pictures of him that existed were many decades old. This made him seem like a ghost, a myth more than a real person. He did not want to be famous like some other cartel leaders. Instead, he wanted to be unknown, to create an aura of fear and legend. People whispered his name, and many wondered if he was still alive or had been sick or died secretly. This invisibility was a smart move for his safety, and it also made his power seem limitless. The CJNG, under his hidden command, became famous for its extreme violence and modern methods. They used military-level weapons and tactics. This included sending drones with explosives and even attacking army helicopters. These actions showed the world how dangerous and well-equipped El Mencho's organization truly was. For many years, El Mencho remained a shadow, a name that struck fear but whose face was rarely seen. He was an untouchable ghost. So how did the special forces from Mexico and intelligence from America finally manage to find the exact place of a man who seemed to have disappeared from the world? 3. The final operation. On the morning of Sunday, February 22, 2026, Mexican soldiers went into the mountains. They were near Tapalpa, a small colonial town in Jalisco State. This area was well known as a stronghold for the CJNG cartel. The soldiers began a very difficult military operation there. Their main goal was to find and capture Nemesio El Mencho Oseguera Cervantes. During the operation, Mexican military forces faced strong resistance.
Members of the CJNG cartel quickly started shooting at the soldiers. A tense and fierce firefight erupted between the government forces and the cartel members. 4 cartel operatives were killed during this exchange of fire. El Mencho was seriously injured in the battle. 2 other cartel members also suffered grave injuries. El Mencho and the 2 other injured men were quickly taken onto an aircraft. The plan was to fly them to Mexico City for urgent medical help. However, they died from their injuries during the flight. 3 Mexican military personnel were also hurt during the operation. They were transferred to a hospital in Mexico City for treatment. Official sources confirmed that authorities from the United States provided important information for this operation. A special U.S.-Mexico task force, which had started in January, also played a role in supporting the Mexican military through intelligence. During the raid, soldiers found and seized armored vehicles, rocket launchers, and many other dangerous weapons. This showed how powerful and well-armed the CJNG had become under El Mencho's leadership. The original plan was to capture El Mencho alive. His capture would have been a huge success for law enforcement in both countries, as he held many secrets about the cartel's operations. But his death meant that much of that valuable information would now remain unknown.
As El Mencho's life ended in that military aircraft high above Mexico, his powerful organization on the ground was already beginning its response. Within just a few hours of the news spreading, the CJNG started a coordinated wave of retaliatory violence. This fast and widespread response proved that the cartel was far from destroyed even without its leader. The country was about to see what happens when the head of such a powerful snake is cut off. 4. A country on fire. After El Mencho died, chaos quickly spread across Mexico. The Jalisco New Generation Cartel, known as CJNG, started its response. They used a tactic called narco-bloqueos. This meant they burned cars and buses to block roads and highways. These burning vehicles stopped people and police from moving easily, creating fear everywhere. Smoke filled the air in many places. In Jalisco State, where El Mencho was killed, the violence was strong. Guadalajara, a big city with 5 million people, became like a ghost town on Sunday night. Residents stayed inside their homes, scared for their safety. Schools in many states had to close on Monday morning. Public transport services also stopped in Jalisco, leaving many people unable to travel. The chaos reached popular tourist spots too. Puerto Vallarta, a resort city famous for its beaches, saw many fires and thick smoke. News reports showed these burning cars, bringing fear to tourists enjoying their vacations.
Many flights to Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara were canceled. Major airlines like Delta Airlines, Alaska Airlines, and American Airlines stopped their services. This left many tourists stranded, unable to leave the country or reach their destinations. The U.S. Embassy quickly told American citizens to stay indoors and be careful. This warning covered 5 states: Jalisco, Tamaulipas, Michoacán, Guerrero, and Nuevo León. Canada also gave similar safety advice to its citizens in Mexico. Jalisco Governor Pablo Lemus Navarro confirmed the attacks. He asked residents to stay home, saying the violence aimed to stop authorities from acting. This wave of coordinated attacks showed how powerful the CJNG still was. Even without its main leader, the cartel caused great fear and disruption across a wide area. Streets that were usually busy became empty. Public events were canceled. This situation also raised worries about the 2026 FIFA World Cup, with matches planned for Guadalajara. The country seemed to be on fire. People wondered what would happen next, feeling unsafe in their own homes. While citizens hid and cities burned, the news of these events quickly traveled. It reached the presidential palaces in Mexico City and Washington, D.C. Everyone waited to see how the leaders of these two nations would react to such a big and dangerous event. A tense alliance. The killing of El Mencho was a big event for politics. It showed the complex relationship between Mexico and the United States. U.S. President Donald Trump had placed a lot of pressure on Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. He wanted her to take strong action against drug cartels. President Trump had often threatened to use military force inside Mexico if the cartels were not stopped. The Mexican government always said no to such threats, seeing them as a violation of their country's independence. El Mencho's death was a major victory for Mexico. It helped President Sheinbaum's government show it could deal with a big problem. It also helped to strengthen the often difficult security relationship between the U.S. and Mexico. U.S. officials were quick to praise the operation. U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau welcomed the news. He called El Mencho one of the bloodiest and most ruthless drug kingpins and said it was a great step for many countries. This praise was politically helpful for both leaders. However, for President Sheinbaum, there was a clear paradox. She had publicly said she was doubtful about the kingpin strategy. This strategy meant targeting and removing top cartel leaders. She and other leaders had criticized it before, saying it often led to more violence. Now, with El Mencho's death, her prediction was coming true. The quick and widespread violence that followed, with burning vehicles and paralyzed cities, clearly showed this. It proved that killing a cartel boss does not always solve the problem. It can create new ones. The operation also highlighted the cooperation between the U.S. and Mexico. Mexico's Defense Department confirmed that U.S. authorities gave complementary information to help the operation. A new U.S. task force had been working with the Mexican military since January. This collaboration, which was quite new, helped with the intelligence needed for the Tapalpa operation. This moment marked an important step in their security ties, showing a complex alliance under great pressure. While the president spoke of a major victory, the criminal business El Mencho built remained a global threat. El Mencho was gone,
But his powerful organization, the CJNG, was still active. It was like cutting off the head of a snake, but the body was still moving. Many wondered if the CJNG could survive and operate without its founder, or if a new struggle for power would begin. 6. The Jalisco Machine. The Jalisco New Generation Cartel, known as CJNG, was not just a criminal group, it was a powerful, sophisticated criminal machine. This organization grew rapidly, becoming one of Mexico's strongest. Its reach spread far beyond Mexico's borders. The CJNG had a presence in all 50 U.S. states and also operated in countries across Central America, South America, and Europe, making it a truly global force. This criminal corporation made vast amounts of money through diverse illegal activities.
They were major traffickers of various drugs, most notably fentanyl, which caused many deaths in the United States. But their business did not stop there. They also engaged in oil theft from pipelines, illegal mineral extraction, human smuggling, and the illicit trade of weapons. Extortion, where they forced businesses and individuals to pay them money, was another key income source. These varied operations allowed the CJNG to build immense wealth and power. What made the CJNG truly dangerous was its military-like strength and tactics. They used advanced weapons like rocket launchers and even armored vehicles. They were known for attacking military helicopters and deploying explosives using drones. They also planted mines to harm security forces. These highly organized and brutal methods meant the CJNG operated much like a small, well-equipped army. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, considered the CJNG as powerful as the infamous Sinaloa cartel, highlighting its significant capabilities. El Mencho's wife, Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia, was even arrested for financial crimes linked to the cartel, showing the deep family involvement and complex financial planning within this criminal enterprise. This organization was incredibly wealthy, highly disciplined, and deeply rooted in many regions, operating like a formidable machine.
This raises a critical question in the ongoing fight against drugs. Does killing one leader, even one as powerful as El Mencho, truly stop such a vast criminal enterprise? Or does it merely make the situation more complex and potentially more violent for everyone involved? 7. The Kingpin Problem. Many people believe that stopping a powerful cartel means catching or killing its leader. This idea is called the Kingpin strategy. However, history in Mexico shows that this plan often creates more problems than it solves. Think about Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. He was once the most wanted leader of the Sinaloa cartel. When he was caught, the cartel did not disappear. Instead, different groups inside his organization started fighting. This led to a lot more violence. His capture caused the cartel to break into smaller warring factions, bringing more bloodshed to many parts of Mexico. El Mencho was very similar. He was a strong, central leader who held the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, together. He controlled many things and made most of the big decisions. Now El Mencho is dead. This leaves a very large empty space at the top of the CJNG. Experts call this a power vacuum, meaning there is no clear person in charge. This situation is more dangerous than when El Mencho was alive and leading the cartel. With no one clearly in charge, two main things are likely to happen: and both mean more violence for the people of Mexico.
First, people inside the CJNG will fight each other. Different commanders and groups will try to become the new leader. This will start a bloody civil war within the cartel itself. Second, other cartels will see this as a chance to grow. They will attack the CJNG to take its drug routes, territories, and businesses. This will also cause more widespread violence across many states. The CJNG is not just one person. It is like a big, well-organized company. It has many members, weapons, drug labs, and ways to make money. These parts do not disappear just because El Mencho is dead. The quick and strong violence that followed his death, like burning buses and blocking roads, shows that the cartel still has power. It still has people who follow orders. The organization is hurt, but it is not destroyed. The empty throne of the CJNG is now open. The most ruthless criminals in the world are watching, ready to make their move. Who are the people who want to take El Mencho's place? What new and terrible violence will their fight for the top position bring to the people of Mexico? The price of a ghost. The death of Nemesio El Mencho Oseguera Cervantes was a major moment. It was a victory for Mexican and U.S. forces, especially after U.S. President Donald Trump had put strong pressure on Mexico to fight cartels. However, this action came with a very high price for many. For ordinary Mexicans, the days after El Mencho's death brought chaos.
Buses were burned to block roads, and smoke filled the air in places like Puerto Vallarta. Major cities such as Guadalajara, a host city for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, became empty as people stayed home. This caused real worry about safety for the international soccer tournament. Flights were canceled, leaving many tourists stranded. The operation removed a feared leader, yet it did not solve the main problems that help organized crime grow. These problems include poverty, corruption in government, and the high demand for illegal drugs in other countries. These deep issues continue to fuel the cartels. The future of the global fentanyl trade remains unclear. El Mencho's cartel was a major group moving this deadly drug into the United States. His death does not mean the flow of fentanyl will stop. The criminal network is large, and new people will likely step in to keep the trade going. Many experts believe that killing a kingpin often leads to more violence, not less. The CJNG cartel, which El Mencho led, might now split into different groups fighting each other. Or a new leader could emerge. This new person might be even more brutal or harder to find than El Mencho. This struggle for power often causes more suffering for the local people. The cycle of the drug war often seems endless. One powerful leader is taken down, but others quickly rise to take their place. This has happened before. For example, after the capture of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman.
His capture did not end the Sinaloa cartel. It caused more fighting among its parts. So, for Mexico, the death of El Mencho is not an end. It marks a new, uncertain chapter in a long, hard fight. What new challenges do you think Mexico will face now that El Mencho is gone?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.